gravitational field of the Earth, and mixed with various other conditions which have to be just right and just so at that particular time.
Is that the reason why they're all around the sacred sites of, Wiltshire, Avebury? Because they're very sacred sites, aren't they? With a lot of energy there.
In the main, my dear friend, it's actually because of the fact that the ley line activity is very evident. It's very much on the surface in those particular areas, as well as it is in other, in a sense, sacred sites throughout the planet. The point is that this is not just one anomaly going on in one particular area. It is something which is repeated.
Yeah.
And that is the manifestation of its repetition. You see, purely and simply because what we tend to do is use it by the creative forces which exist already. It's part of the reason, friend, why at times when viewing such objects as this, you will see, in fact, that there may well be small plasmic balls within the area just moving across the crop or whatever, perhaps maybe at 3 feet in height from the ground, or some such thing. Mm-hmm. And these balls of light have are part of the structure which is inherent in creating them.
That's right. People have seen those.
Yes, and it's not just to say that these are created by the spirit world only or primarily. It is also a part of the manifestation which is enabled by other groups as well. Other groups who have who use the universe just like their own village, if you like.
Yeah, but there does seem to be a purpose to them. There doesn't seem to be anything random about them because
of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, my dear friend. Really, because they are subjected to very specific numbers. They are subjected to very specific diametrics of specific heavenly bodies or patterns of displacement, particularly to do with various passages of planets and also their moons or different star systems which have to be particularly involved, purely and simply because of the dynamics of it as trying to illuminate something which is as, how can I say, more intelligent because it exists within very many different numbered and fractioned numbered status, so that it's in a sense to do with part of the geometric and geophysical stress of the planet, as well as other parts of the universe of your present dimension, so general locality. And it tends to be echoing different facts to do with your own planetary awareness and surrounding, and also its moons and various other planets to do with the solar system, as well as other planets and stars in close proximity.
Yes, that's what I found. They do seem to be a roadmap of what's happening within our own solar system. It's almost like waking people up to a new level of mathematics. It seems to be, that's what I'm saying, it's like a roadmap helping us, guiding us to a higher state of consciousness in a way.
Yes, in a sense, or at least a different state of learning. I would prefer to call it that.
Yes.
Because in actual fact, the highest state of consciousness that you can illuminate to has to be your own pure spirit, and to see yourself in that divine purpose. That doesn't mean to say taken over by egotism, but actually related to as a factual evidence of the purity which exists within you, which can be found within every being. And that would only bring truth and love. That would only bring absolute light and joy and bliss to the state of life.
Yes. So, going back to I'll sort of talk on disclosure a bit now as well. I mean, do you see that's something that, as a race, that we are imminently working towards that to bring disclosure out? I mean, because the way I see it is that it would certainly heal a lot of wounds, I think, through our history to realise who we truly are. and we can't actually do that unless we know there's other beings out there that are actually part of our cosmic family.
Yes, I understand that, and have actually been in existence the same as your good selves for such a long time. That's part of the point, really, I believe, that, and perhaps really part of this also comes within the difficulty that people have within their own reticent energy, within their own concepts of themselves, particularly to do with being stuck upon the earth and being just fixated by it. Whereas, in fact, human beings really need to look to the whole of entirety of the actual nature of the universe that you live in at this present time. Because you're actually a part of all of that, too.
Well, you've only got to look at as far back as Egypt with the pyramids and realise that we were a cosmological race back then. You know, those things were built for the stars, weren't they? The way that they seem to be mapping star systems, or the knowledge that went into that, somehow suggests that we were a very advanced race back then compared to what we are now.
Yes, and that was just, between 4,000 to 3,000 years ago.
Yes,
or perhaps maybe a little more than that, but the point is, though, that had only been in the last cycle of the human race. It in fact had been that the human race had encountered it so many times before. That's the point, really, out of its whole and entire 5 million year history.
Yeah, but I guess the whole UFO thing is a dirty subject, because if you come out and disclose it, then all of the secrets that have been hidden for all this time and been keeping people enslaved, if you like, may surface. And there's obviously a lot of people there that do not want that to happen, so they're going to try and keep that lid on it as much as possible.
Yes, my dear friend, of course. If you look at all of the different constraints which are held within religious thought and theocracy, you will see, even within the minutest errors of theism, that there are many different dialects which would actually simply blow into dust.
Yeah.
The merest mention of other races beyond your present knowing.
That's correct. I mean, just to backtrack a little bit, because something just popped into my head, and that was the Phoenix Lights experience, was because that was a huge craft, wasn't it? A huge triangular craft that was seen by many, many, many people.
It was many miles across.
Yeah. I mean,
similar, I have to say, dear friend, extremely similar to ones which were observed from various spacecraft out in the near universe, if you like, of the planet of Earth.
Yeah.
And many of those were actually observed at that time too, and they had a kind of a different pulsar, as though kind of intermediary power base, which actually works as a sort of it's as though it's creating its own propellant using its own magnetism and force fields of being able to attract energy to it and then repel it. Yeah. Similar, I have to say, dear friend, if you looked at various kinds of organism which live in the sea, you will also see a similar kind of expulsion of energy which drives it along, which comes from the center of its being.
So you're saying that the ship was organic in some way?
Yes.
It was organic?
Yes, they are. They tend to be organic. Friend.
Yeah. So the ship is a living entity?
Yes, friend.
It's got its own consciousness?
They tend to be that way. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is the origin of... I mean, we've got a habit of saying these are Syrians, these are Pleiadians, da-da-da. But, I mean, where would that come from?
I understand, dear friend, there is a certain race that has an understanding of this kind of, I won't say technology, because then that makes it look as though it's something which is engineered by other races of different minds and intellect. Therefore, meaning that how can that then be a structure of organic compound or organic life if it's already been manipulated by others? Purely and simply, I have to say, dear friend, because it's been created through many different forms of help. That doesn't mean to say these organic craft actually